Cyrus Barker did his best not to look glum. He finds first-class carriages cramped, however, so after a decent interval, he and I availed ourselves of the smoking car. There he spread out on the bench, filled his travelling meerschaum, and seized a handful of newspapers. I opened a window and took up the least dull-looking of the journals available, an issue of Blackwood's. After a few minutes, my employer grunted. I've become an expert on Barker's grunts. He has several to display irritation, inquisitiveness, confirmation, or even triumph. This one was to show interest. I looked up in inquiry. Unusual murder, or perhaps a mere hunting accident. The headmaster of the Bromley boarding school in Roxton opens a chamber window to call to some of his charges, and is shot dead. A stray bullet from a poacher, perhaps? I asked. The headmaster, Harold Throgmorton, was known as a strict disciplinarian, but he had no enemies. A search was made of the woods nearby, but no tramps or gypsies were found. I chuckled and put down my magazine. The most likely suspects, I'm sure, only neither is likely to have a rifle accurate over 20 feet. Precisely, and listen to this. Local woman found dead. The body of Mrs. Yolanda Tisher was found this morning outside of her retirement cottage in St. Ives. She was 69. Her neck was broken, according to the medical examiner, and there were signs of a struggle. Mrs. Tisher had run a successful boarding school for infants for many years, having retired after 3 decades. Inspector Whiteburn of the local constabulary asks that anyone with pertinent information in this case come forward. Boarding school for infants? I said. I suppose you mean a baby farm for illegitimate children. Where was the first murder? Redruth. I've been there once. It's a distance of about 20 miles between them at least. One's a schoolmaster and the other a schoolmistress of sorts. You think there is a connection? I think 2 murders in a week in this part of the country exceedingly rare, but the murder methods are dissimilar. If one has a good rifle, why attack a woman in the street? Women of that profession tend to be hardened old crones. It sounds as if she put up a struggle. No doubt. Inspector Whiteburn has his hands full, but then so do we. I suppose when our duties on the Scilly Isles are finished, if the murders are still unsolved, we might look in, if you have a mind to do so. Barker grunted again. I took it to mean perhaps.